That thing picks up everything, doesn't it? This shit is making no sound. Ah, shit. It's not picking up the music. Okay. Alright, we're gonna start at 4 minutes. Just so we can like get all the audio set up. Make sure the audio's good. Make sure it's not super like crazy sounding. Cause I don't wanna fucking release it and then just like, oh yeah, it sounds horrible. There's a little bit of like buzzing. I hear it. I don't like it. Like, bro, I gotta figure out what the hell to do with that audio. I think it's just my controller. I want to try something real quick. Maybe it'll come through better through this. Hopefully it still sounds fine. Alright, I want to see how it sounds now. Hopefully it sounds a little bit better. Okay, it sounds a little bit better. Alright, let's do this. Alright, we're gonna start at 6 minutes. Put 6 in the thing. Alrighty, everyone. We're back on Chemically Bonded. We did the prologue. It seems like an interesting story. I'm definitely leaning towards the chick on the right, but I think I'm gonna like this story. It's pretty fun. Yeah, let's get it started. All right. Chemically bonded. Passing over as quickly as they'd started, this sparrow of the closed class marks the end of our morning session, reinforced by the brief chime of bell. Leaning back in my chair with a stretch, almost to wring out the lethargically built up. Oh my god. Lethargy built up inside. I too rise from my seat. I guess now wouldn't be such a bad idea to get lunch, even if I'm not that hungry. Stepping out into the corridor, the usual chatter flows through as people make their way out of the classes, one by one, to join the mass crowd heading to the stairwells. Based on how late classes actually finish, I have no doubts that the cafeteria will be busy. Thinking of my new acquaintance, or rather club mate, I've noticed that Kyoko opts either to stay in class or head elsewhere for lunch. Not as if it matters, but assuming she heads to the science lab to eat wouldn't be unreasonable. Mentioning it, I'll be getting to know the room pretty well myself in the coming days, now that I've committed to joining. Based on how enthusiastic she was about it, it wouldn't be too far a stretch to think she'd wait for me to turn up no matter what. Pulling out now isn't an option, even though I can't see myself doing that to her. Spending time with her might actually boost my grades. I have a front row view of the school's smartest doing science right before my eyes. Even if I'm not into it, she certainly is. Whatever doing science involves. That, and she seems like a nice person too. Perhaps it'll even be fun. I continue my journey towards the cafeteria, just one out of many students now amassed in a narrow hallway. Walking through the doors to the cafeteria, the sight of people swathed? I don't know what that word is. Swathed around the rows of tables greets my eyes. As expected, it's quite busy here. Students from first to third years crowd around eating and chatting. The scene itself somehow seems too familiar, as if I'm expecting to find Kyoko eating her lunch in the corner by herself. However, I'm certain she stayed behind to eat in class. Plus, I've established she's not that type of person. Taking the situation into consideration, it'd probably be best to buy something from the vending machines. The line for food is almost a metaphor in itself. But personally, I don't find what's on offer good. I've never been a fan of beef sandwiches, imported from abroad. Domestic cuisine is more than enough. Reaching into my pocket, I feel around for any loose coins. The pang of realization hits me as my fingers rummage around inside looking for any hints of change. Damn. The option now is to head back to class. I could have sat down somewhere and joined in with one of my groups, but even then, I'll be the only one without food. Turning around, I make my way out of the cafeteria, with a less than stellar expression of neutrality in my face, as I watch myself pass by the glass frame posters on the wall. The corridor is filled by a state close to silence, as I walk down listening to my footsteps tapped against the hardwood floor below. Dust wafts around the warm spring air, glowing in the afternoon sun now shining through the windows lining the walls. For now, all I can do is wait around in class for afternoon lessons to start. If I'm lucky, I can find someone to talk to there. As I take my next step down the corridor, a hand claps around my shoulder tightly, pulling me back. If I hadn't actually managed to get some lunch, I'm fairly certain I would have shat myself.
Where do you think you're going?
Hey! As I spun around my shoulder, before me stands Naomi Sato with a sharp glare in her face. The very same Naomi Sato from yesterday. The popular, attractive, in my opinion, somewhat rude Naomi Sato. If it wasn't for yesterday, I wouldn't have recognized her sporting her new getup, hair done, to a rag ponytail as the lengths in front of her ears slowed down her chest. I don't think I've seen her like this before. Boobies.
I have something I want to ask you.
I can't possibly think what she wants to talk about after yesterday. Maybe she's just pissed that I bumped into her.
You were hanging about with Kyoko yesterday, weren't you?
And what if I was? The entire thing is none of her business, after all, especially since my tie is now firmly within her grip, almost enough to choke me if she pleased. Dits. The entire thing is none of her business, after all, especially since my tie is now... I read that. Interrogating people doesn't help. Why does it matter to you anyway? Standing my ground doesn't particularly help the situation. She continues to stare at me with a look more than pissed as my tie is pulled tight around my neck. Just what is her problem?
I just want to know why she's hanging around with you. That's all. And why does it matter if it matters to me?
Because it seems as if you have a problem. Nemo pulls down on my tie, further tightening around my neck. I'm joining the science club, alright? What's wrong with that?
The science club? So that's what she's up to.
Still choking me.
If I was you, I'd stay away from her.
You're choking me.
That's not just advice, either.
Basking in the afternoon sunlight, I appear to be getting threatened by the most popular girl in the school. If this is what she really like, if this is what she's really like, then she really takes all the cliches. Unless it's just me she has a problem with. The more I stand here, the more I think that's the case. Her eyes, still fixed towards mine, carry an uncanny, natural sense of anger as she still clutches my tie tightly, frowning all the while. Luckily enough, we're the only ones around the corridor. Lunch doesn't end for a while, so nobody's around to witness us. You know, I've never had a girl this close to me before. I can almost feel her breath against my face. She's close enough that I could probably kiss you. Naomi pushes me back despite remaining hold of my tie. It's like she's intentionally trying to choke me. Naomi pushes me back despite remaining hold of my tie. It's like she's intentionally oh, I already read that. That's for content. Alright. What was that for?
You're being disgusting! You can't just say things like that!
I was joking.
I haven't got time for your jokes. I asked you a question, alright?
I told you, I'm in the science club. Why would a popular girl like you have an issue with Kyoko anyway?
That's none of your concern! I don't have an issue. And how does a guy like you know who I am? What's your name?
Naomi yanks at my tie again. I'm Danny. You're the captain of the track team. Everyone knows who you are. Releasing me from her grip, my tie falls to my chest as Naomi remains with her eyes fixed on my direction, now seeming somewhat calmer.
Dealing with Kyoko is not worth your time. That's all. Telling you bluntly is the only way you'd understand.
What? A bit too bluntly, might I add. Naomi rests her hand at her side, still facing me with less than pleased expression. I don't think choking me has made any clearer. I didn't even recognize you with the new hairstyle at first.
You like it?
I guess it suits you.
Ew!
Her face contorts in response to my compliment. I guess she really doesn't like me.
Just leave Kyoko alone. She's not someone you should be involved with.
I should probably be the one saying that, given how she acted yesterday and how overly inquisitive actions today. Realizing it, though, has given Naomi enough time to make her way halfway down the corridor. What a great way to introduce yourself. For someone who's supposed to be popular, she certainly has a unique personality. Now that she's confirmed my suspicions, it's clear enough that there's something happening between Kyoko and Naomi. Despite having just met them both, it's more than concerning. It seems as if Naomi herself doesn't like Kyoko. Standing around and watching doesn't seem like the best idea. Then again, getting involved in it isn't the best one either. I didn't know that I had to put up with this after joining the science club. But if anyone's able to clear this up, it'd be Kyoko. I should probably talk to her about it. Making my way back to class, the glistening sunlight shines in a reflection from the polished floor below. Wow, that was the end of the first chapter. That was like 17 minutes. Maybe I should save. Because I don't know if that was save. And let's go back. Let's see. What was that achievement? You just keep going. Let's just keep saving every time. The sound of small conversation made between the few students opting to remain in class greets me as I arrive through the doors. Peering across the room, my eyes move. Looking around to see if I can catch a glimpse of Kyoko. To no avail though, she doesn't seem to be here. It'd be safe to say she's gone somewhere else for lunch. The sense of various foods still linger in the air as people begin to pack up to start afternoon lessons. Time is now ticking away towards the end of the lunch. Unfortunately, all good things end too soon.
Hey!
For the second time today, a hand grips my shoulder unexpectedly. This one, however, dainty and light, comes from someone with the courtesy to speak up before spinning me around. Hey, Kyoko.
Hey! I was looking for you everywhere.
And why's that?
I wanted to make sure you were coming to the club after school.
I expected as much. Of course I am. I did say I would. Kyoko pouts, almost displeased at my answer despite telling her what she wanted to hear.
How can you claim something without empirical evidence?
What?
Facts!
As if to emphasize her point, her hands raised heartfully to her chest as she faced me with a smile. It's almost as if she is enthralled by the very concept of logic. I spanned my head across the room to notice that her overabundant enthusiasm has caught the attention from many beside me. Kyoko doesn't talk much to the rest of the class, so seeing her this gleeful must be oddly for them in itself. Particularly since she's acting this way towards me. Until yesterday, I was virtually a stranger to her. The rumors didn't help her case either. Meeting her myself was a shock, but getting to know her even after a day has broken all the thoughts I'd once held.
I guess you did say you'd go.
She has no parallels to a person I'd call bad. That's right, class is starting anyway. So it's strange to think that someone like Naomi would have such an issue with her. The clock hands creep steadily towards the hour, almost as if in competition with our teacher's momentary lecturing. It's safe to say I'm not the only one rooting for the clock to win. Sensei added its encyclopedia. On cue, the bell chimes away, cutting off Mr. Kimura's sentence.
Class, I expect you all to catch up before next week. You know you'll have a new teacher soon. Don't expect him to cover what I've missed.
If we're lucky, he won't be as boring to listen to. Copying up Copying up with a week, though, is a bit of a stretch. Maybe I can try copying an answers from Kyoko, if she'd even let me. The class follows swiftly to the process of packing bags and rising from seats, everyone in a rush to leave, whether that's for home or club activities. For me, it's now the latter. From across the room, Kyoko looks back with a twinkle in her eyes as she steadily lifts her small figure from her seat. Does she think I'm about to make a run for it? Trying it out would be pretty funny, but I don't want to hurt her feelings. Joining did mean a lot to her after all. Following suit with the rest of the class, I too now rise from my desk, heading to join Kyoko as she idles around her waiting for me to pass by.
Are you excited?
For what? I know exactly what. I just wanted to tease her.
For the club, silly.
Her emotions are made apparent through her actions. Vividly enough, she's excited herself. After spending time alone and only club member, I guess now that she has someone to join her, she can't start to feel like there's someone who shares her interests. The club is starting to take shape. Despite not having a clue about science, I don't have any qualms about joining her. I guess so. Particularly if Naomi has problems with her. From what I've seen, Kyoko seems to be being bullied by her. I don't want to allow that to happen. She joins me as the pair of us walk out of the room together, greeted by a vast corridor before us. Kyoko, taking light footsteps from my side, all the while keeping her lips from firm in the smile of the warm light now shines against her features. What? Her features? If joining the club has caused this sight before me, maybe it wasn't such a bad idea to join. Together, we stand before the entrance in the science lab. The door, painting in a shade of white off-whites, clicks as Kyoko slides it open and takes the first step inside.
Welcome to the club.
You've already said that.
I just wanted to say it again.
Kyoko. Kyoko mocks me with a frown as she stands in the door, ushering me in. Aren't you supposed to have 5 members for a club anyway? As far as I'm aware, we only have 2.
I'm working on that. Who cares? It's not like they'll say anything.
I don't know who they is, but given Kyoko's reputation, even with the staff, she might actually be right. Beckoned by Kyoko, the science lab greets me as I now join her inside. Now that I'm here, perhaps I'll have a chance to talk to her about Naomi. It's something that's been bugging me. Rushing into that isn't my priority. I'll leave Kyoko to get along with science. She's already started to fish equipment out of nearby cupboards, neatly placing them on a workbench before her.
Bunsen burner, check. Tripod and gauze, check. Hydrochloric acid, check.
Acid? Hydrochloric acid? What sort of experiment are you doing?
The experiment we're doing. And it's fine. It only has a pH of like 3 anyway.
I don't even know what a pH is. She continues setting up our experiment, intently studying each item she pulls from the cupboards and drawers. I guess she really is into this. Her lab coat flaps around as she quickly passes to and from areas around the room to fetch the bits and bobs she needs. I can't even remember when she even put it on. It does suit her though. The now evening sunlight shines through the room, causing the strands of Kyoko's hair to glisten as I continue watching her. Despite not doing much, I'm actually finding this kind of fun. What? Kyoko's cry from across the room startled me, given that she's been almost silent for the last few minutes.
I'm out of fennel.
Fent? You said Fent? you don't need to get into it. Honestly, I wouldn't have a clue what it was, even if she did say it.
I'll have to get some more tomorrow. But we can't do the experiment without it.
Truly, that is a shame. No longer having the chance to see the smartest girl in school working here before me. Even if I can find this stuff interesting, it's given the opportunity to get into it. Well, what now? I don't feel like going home yet, and from the look of her face, neither does she. Cutting short our first real club meeting would just make her feel sad. That in turn wouldn't make me feel any better.
I guess we can just talk.
She doesn't seem to know what to do then. Talking with her wouldn't be a bad idea though. Ever since yesterday, to an extent, the issue with Naomi has been bugging me. The entire topic might be something she'd want to go into. But standing by and ignoring the issue isn't the best option either. It hurt me to see her upset. To just ignore the topic, to ignore the fact that Kyoko is being treated this way, is not something I allow myself to do. Despite having just met Kyoko, I'm allowed to have feelings of concern for her if Naomi is doing something to hurt her. Not addressing it wouldn't make me feel better about it. There is something I want to talk about. Kyoko, oblivious to my tone of voice, looks at me cheerfully.
What is it? Are you going to tell me your favorite element?
No, it's not that. It's about Naomi Sato. Her face drops from the mention of her name. I don't want to get too into it, but it seems as if she has something against you. Kyoko remains frozen before me, her face now coated with a look of woe. It's not something I wanted to see, but to see a face like this caused by someone's hate would hit hard.
He's always been like that.
Childhood friends, maybe?
I'd rather not go into it.
I'm sorry for asking. Taking my cue, I apologize for delving into the topic. I had realized that asking would have created a sense of awkwardness, but her response solidifies the situation entirely. It's apparent that Naomi is going out of her way to upset Kyoko. I'd hate to imagine what Kyoko was feeling, and the thought itself makes me sick.
No, it's okay. After all, you're a science club member. You're allowed to ask questions.
I guess now's a good time to change the topic. Kyoko doesn't seem too happy about talking about Naomi. It's understandable why.
Anyways, it's getting late. I'd rather not bore you. We can't do anything until tomorrow.
Kyoko upholds her sorrowful expression as she makes note of the amber sky visible through the windows. Whether that's due to having cut the club short or due to our conversation, it's unclear. It's okay. I'm looking forward to
Determining the concentration of calcium carbonate in limestone?
That's what you were doing? A giggle, a cute and more than welcome one. It's a nice thing to end my first club meeting on, given the bleak aura we just escaped from. Kyoko unsheathes her slender figure from her lab coat, resting it once again against a nearby chair. I feel as if she's the only one who actually comes here outside of class. She has free reign to use all the equipment without a care in the world. That is, besides Naomi. We both stroll out of the lab together. She walks swiftly to my side, now almost as happy as she was when we first arrived. Wait, aren't you going to put the equipment back?
Oh, that? They won't care if I leave it there for tomorrow.
I'll trust her on that. Greeted by the late afternoon skies above, just as yesterday, we now stand before the school gates ready to depart. Spending time with her has certainly been fun. I really consider her a friend. Before you ask, I will come tomorrow.
How did you know?
Because, like me, she enjoys spending time with someone after school. It could have been anyone, but I'm happy I made the decision to join her. Because science is fun, right?
Right.
Kyoko leaves me with a friendly wave as we bid each other farewell. The two of us now setting off home in this warm spring evening. It's that friendly wave I want to be able to see more often. The emotion of happiness. I don't want Naomi to bother her. I don't want her to be unhappy, to feel that way anymore. Wow. The creaking sound of my bedroom door makes it... Oh wait, I should probably save, right? The creaking sound of my bedroom door makes its way to my ears as I take a step inside my room. My feet tap against the hard wood floor as I make my way inside towards my chair. Besides my own movement and sounds, the house is silent, save for the sound of traffic in the wider world outside my room. Finding myself alone at this time of day is still an odd experience, my parents having left to enjoy their once-in-a-blue-moon evening meal. At least now, with this peace, I don't find myself berated by them for not cleaning my room or doing schoolwork. Maybe I have it easy. I could be berated for not bringing girls home from school instead. But having to hear about cleaning is still exasperating. I had a hard enough time yesterday on cleaning duty, which is why I'm grateful to Kyoko for deciding to help me out in the end. Even if I had to join the science club in the process, it's not as if I mind though. It's certain to say that I'm finding the club enjoyable, or rather, being around Kyoko herself is what's fun. I can't call science a selling point. Her quirky nature is almost captivating. Given that she's never really opened herself up to me in class, it's funny to think that I once thought of her as a quiet, reserved girl. She seems to get so excited about almost everything. Though I know there's more to her than meets the eye. Her reluctance to delve into the topic of Naomi's is more than concerning. Even if she did tell me not to get into it, getting choked earlier today wasn't a pleasant experience. I'm no masochist, but I guess there's plenty of guys wanting to be on my shoes. However, it's clear that something is going on between the two of them, and if what I've seen to believe that I can't help but think that there's a real possibility of Naomi bullying Kyoko. Standing around and letting that happen would just make me feel disgusted about myself. Dealing with Naomi further isn't in my interest either. Giving our less than stellar introduction, but if I don't confront her, who will? An ill-matched chuckle escapes my mouth as I dwell into my thoughts. I'm not Kyoko's knight in shining armor, but then again, I'm no asshole either. By this point, I can consider her my friend, and letting this ordeal continue isn't what a friend would do. I'll just give her to talk to Naomi, no matter how fond we are of each other. Stretching back to my chair, the phone on my desk vibrates as I peer towards it. Whoever it is, they've picked the perfect time to get in touch. Being at home alone sure is boring, but it's not like I'd be speaking to my parents much anyway. Picking up the phone, I tilt it towards read the notification and lit across the screen. One new message from a familiar name that... Kyoko? It's reasonable to think that she's tried texting me eventually. We did exchange numbers, so I shouldn't be surprised. Still, I'm not sure what she'd want this time of day, but there's no sense to not respond to her. For my grasp around it, I bring the phone closer towards my eyes to read the message on the screen. Hey, you come to the club tomorrow? As opposed to abbreviated of slang, Kyoko's message is typed neatly before me. She didn't seem to like the type of person to send, "You're coming to the club tomorrow, right?" So it's not too surprising. What's even less surprising than the message itself, that is, her eagerness to check on whether I'd be attending the club or not. Despite being a member, I guess she still doesn't have the confidence to believe that someone hasn't actually joined her club. That alongside the amount that she presumably spent along there. In terms of club activities, we didn't do much today. Besides touching on a sensitive issue for her, perhaps she's worried I might have found it boring. If so, I should probably respond. If not, as though I don't enjoy talking to her. Of course I'm going. I don't know if she expects me to tell her that I won't go one of these days. I might not do anything in the club, but I can safely say I'd enjoy it so far. The thought of turning my back on Kyoko has never gone through my head, particularly after the way she's almost begged me to join her club. Despite being intelligent, she makes it seem as if she has memory problems. Or more likely, the fact that someone has actually joined her has kept her excited. She did spend so much time at the sole member, so it's granted that she's giddy about having a clubmate. I don't know whether I've upset her, but she doesn't send any further messages. Reaching out to place my phone back up on my desk, however, the sudden ringing startles me. Is she actually calling me? Putting the phone against my ear, it soon becomes apparent that Kyoko isn't exactly pleased about our conversation.
Hey!
Hey.
Of course. I'd have to check if you're coming. You're in the club, aren't you? It's my responsibility as club captain.
I don't think any club captains regularly text their members to check if they're coming, especially if it's just me and her. Of course I'm going. You don't need to ask.
Well, I wanted to. I found some more phenolphthalein indicator too, so we can finally do that experiment.
Pheno what? I think she did mention something about it today. Do you just have that stuff laying around in your house?
As if you don't.
I don't think any normal high school student would have, whatever that is, around their house. Well, at least she's happy about it. To be honest, I was looking forward to seeing her at work. That look of concentration in her eyes when I first walked in on her is fascinating. The look of ambition. It's something I admire. As someone with no real ambitions, seeing her eyes sparkle as she experiments intrigues me.
Anyway, I need to go. Just promise you'll come.
I promise. I feel as if I'll be getting used to saying those words to her.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye, Kyoko. The line falls silent as my phone remains adjacent to my ear. Frankly, the experience of talking to a girl after school like this is new to me. That is, talking about my obligation to watch her engrossed in experimentation. Still, being able to freely speak to Kyoko like this after only a few days makes me happy. It only makes me wonder, how long had she to deal with being alone in a club, particularly with the issue of Naomi. To be able to converse freely with her, to be friends with her. I can't call that a bad thing. All I need to do now is get a better understanding of the situation. Talking to Naomi again is the only way to do that. After placing the phone back on my desk, I lean back once again in my chair. I'm still at odds to finding something to keep me occupied. I could conform to cliches and resist doing my homework, but getting it done now isn't as isn't an unreasonable thing to do. It's not as if I have anything else planned otherwise. Besides, thinking about Kyoko and Naomi, frankly, I don't think doing that is healthy. We'll just have to sort things out tomorrow. Even if that's the risk of getting strangled again. Alright. We're gonna save here. This is where we're gonna end it. That's perfect. This is perfect. This is perfect. Alright. Thank you all for watching this video or coming to the stream. Have a good one. I'm out of here.